Hi, this is Bishop Craig in the basement, and this is take one for the week of November 29. Peace be with you. I have been sitting staring into the camera for about a half hour now, trying to figure out what I'm going to say, waiting for the words to come. The readings for this second Sunday in Advent, I find myself reflecting on them for some time now. The reading from Isaiah, Comfort, O Comfort, My People, Says Your God, I included in a sermon I preached at St. Luke's in Grand Rapids recently, virtually, of course, and talked about the fact that these words were spoken to Israel while they were in exile in Babylon, and we are in exile from daily work and from weekly worship and from friends and family and normal life and all of that. And we're waiting, and the good news is that God will make a way. God will make a way in the desert in which we find ourselves. If you remember back to my sermon for November 8, I cited the Petrine epistle as justification of our God always being late, always being delayed. I asked the question, so when was the last time God showed up at the precise moment that you thought God would or should? And so God is not delayed like we consider slowness. God is slow for our own benefit. And then a few weeks ago, I attended the ELMM, Equipping Leaders for Mission and Ministry course on the Gospel of Mark, and listened as Dr. Wally Taylor from Trinity Seminary spent an hour unpacking the first verse of Mark's Gospel, the beginning of the good news of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. So I've got all of these readings, these three readings kind of floating around in my head, waiting for the spark, the good news, the message of the sermon that I would preach. And it hasn't come. And maybe there's some blessing in that rather than talking about waiting, we find ourselves truly waiting. Not as an Advent construct, but as the reality of our lives. We are waiting for the end of COVID. We are waiting for a vaccine. We are waiting for Christmas and what that will and won't be like. Maybe we're dreading Christmas this year because of what it will or won't be like. Some of us are waiting for the inauguration. Others of us are waiting for the overturn of the election. We're waiting for spring. I find myself waiting for everyone to get on board and put on their mask and stay home. And others are waiting for people to get over all the bubble hubbubaloo of the virus and just get back to normal, get our businesses and our schools open. We are waiting. And I think if there was somebody like John the Baptist out on the streets giving us the answer from God, I expect that a lot of us would turn out to see what it is, to hear what it is, to figure out undeniably and clearly what we should do. So I relate to that beginning of Mark's Gospel. But John the Baptist does what Wally Taylor did when he explained Mark's Gospel and pointed us beyond to Jesus. So rather than a statement of good news, I have a question that I'm asking myself, and maybe I'll ask you. What would it mean for us to spend this time of true waiting, to embrace this time of true waiting as the beginning of the good news of Jesus Christ, the Son of God? It would mean expecting that Jesus will come, being vigilant for the way that Jesus will come, and embracing the experiences that that is Jesus coming. I don't know what that means. I find myself sitting with my hands open, palms open, waiting. I can't even find the words to pray. And maybe that's all right. So maybe this Advent, we get to put ourselves in the crowds, listening to John, who is pointing us beyond himself to Jesus who comes. And maybe we can see beyond Christmas, beyond an election, beyond an inauguration, beyond a vaccine, to Jesus who is coming. And be ready, because the good news is that Jesus will come. I guess I'm giving myself the pep talk. And maybe some of you who watch this, need that as well. I get to spend this week in about 15 Zoom meetings. That's a lot for me, the way my schedule has unfolded. Some of them will be really exciting, and some of them will be pretty difficult. And that's okay. That is the work to which I am called to do. So I would invite you to remember me in your prayers as I remember you in my prayers. And if you don't know what else to do this week, if the words don't come, as I'm not sure they have for me, to take some time and to sit with your palms open on your lap and wait for Jesus to come. I'm Bishop Craig. This is Take One. Peace be with you.